My wife and I had been married for 35 years and we were very happy. Then she got a rare form of cancer. We tried a better diet, chemotherapy, and even considered removing one of her lungs. But the doctors were adamantly opposed to the idea that a 60-year-old person could not withstand such a procedure. And it was uncertain whether she would recover. We had nothing better to do, and we did what we had to do. We continued to love each other until the day she left. I will never forget what she said to me that day, as she lay in bed with her family surrounding her. She said she was going home and would see me again. I kept holding her hand, and when her hand became soft, I knew she was gone. I remember the doctor putting my wife in a body bag. Drove her to the funeral home. I went to bed that night cursing God for taking the love of my life away from me. I cried so hard. My life became dark, my life lost its meaning, and it went on like that for a month. I stopped eating on time. I stopped exercising every day. I just wanted to be with my wife. I became so depressed that I hardly talked to my children. Everything in the house reminded me of her. I was already feeling worse and worse physically, and I continued to curse God for taking my wife away from me. After a month, I finally got up the courage to go see my wife's grave. It took me some time to find it because I was now feeling very weak to walk. When I got to my wife's grave, I swear I saw someone standing in front of it, but when I got there, the person disappeared again. I thought to myself, baby, I am so sorry that this is the first time I have visited you. I missed you so much. I put the flowers I brought on my wife's grave and I sighed. I stood up, wiped a tear from my eye, said goodbye and promised I would visit her often, and started walking past her grave. I turned my head and saw the man standing by her grave again. I rubbed my eyes and I thought to myself, what the hell is going on here? I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest that hurt so badly I couldn't stand. I fell to the ground. I could smell the dirt, and then I was gone. I remember seeing a light that felt like a tornado pulling me in, but it didn't cause any damage. I didn't know where it was taking me, only that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape. I went through a tunnel, and finally, I got to the other side. I felt a very strong sense of love in this place. The feeling was indescribable and I heard someone speak and it turned out to be my own voice. I heard myself cursing God over and over again. I was amazed that I would say such harsh words and that I was a religious person. I grew up going to church a lot because my father was a pastor. I also hear the words I say to my wife during arguments, and I hear the words I say to my children, words that are amplified hundreds of times, louder and more powerful than when I first said them. When those words became too much for me to bear, I cried out to God, begging His forgiveness. The voices immediately disappeared, and I found myself standing at the bottom of a throne. The light was so bright that as my eyes adjusted to the light, I could see the person sitting on the throne, but only a faint outline. This person sitting on the throne began to speak. I have heard your curse on me. I brought you here so that you could vent these resentments. Now I am afraid. Yes, I admit that I said those things. I still feel that you took my wife away from me. She was my life and soul. She was everything to me, and you took that away from me. You were right, I brought her home. Her time on earth is over because she has done everything she wanted to do in her life. What do you mean she's done everything she wanted to do? I asked. In her life she wanted to do two things. She wanted to marry her soul mate and she wanted to raise her children with the person she loved the most. The person she loves most is also you. When God said this, it dawned on me. Is she here? I asked. God answered, yes. Can I see her one last time? It seemed like a long time before the answer came. You can see her again. God took me on a tour of heaven and he led me across a lake that was the clearest and most beautiful lake I had ever seen. He led me through pastures. Every place he took me was too beautiful to describe in human terms. He also showed me places he had prepared for others. Finally we came to the place he had prepared for my wife and me. And it looked exactly like our house on earth. I saw my wife, who was watering the flowers. God said gently, go and talk to her. I walked over to my wife. She didn't notice me. She turned her head toward me, and a puzzled look appeared on her face. She asked, why are you here? Your time is not up yet. I replied, I don't know what's going on or why I'm here. I really don't know. Now you can't be here yet, you have to go back. She said sternly. I replied again, I miss you, and life without you means nothing. You have to do this for the sake of our children. They need you. We will see each other again. She kissed me gently on the cheek. I woke up to find myself passed out in front of the grave, and a groundskeeper ran over to help me up. Are you okay, old-timer? Yes, I'm fine. How long had I been passed out? About a minute. That's impossible, I thought to myself. I feel like I've been talking to God and my wife for a long time. The administrator said, do you need to call an ambulance? I said no, and I walked home on my own. It took me a few months to adjust myself and eventually get back to a healthy state of living. These past 7 years have not been easy for me, and soon I will be 80 years old. With every birthday I tell myself that I don't have much time left. I just hope that my wife will not be angry with me for making her wait so long. I always believe that my wife is waiting for me in heaven. I will see her again in the near future.